I'm going to pull up a notion that I essentially made for myself if I was to kind of learn everything to go from 0 to 10K again. So it's just kind of like the simple steps I would do myself to get to 10K. And then from there, we're going to open it up. So you guys can just ask me absolutely anything. So I assume the notions can take like 15 minutes. And then from there, there's 3 of you guys. So just any questions you have, you're good to ask me those then. So first thing, you guys like Alex Ramosi, I assume? Yeah, perfect. So he says volume negates luck. So obviously you've heard this so many times, but literally in the beginning, you guys, like so many people have no idea what to do. So you have a very vague idea what the key actions are. So obviously sending the emails, doing the cold calls, taking the action service letter, all these things, you have the vague idea, but you haven't gotten good yet. And this is the blunt truth. If you're at 0 to maybe a few grand a month, you're probably just starting like 6 months to 12 months. That's a beginner, right? It takes years to get good agency things. And that's just because it's such a big agency. Like there's skill sales, service delivery, appointment booking, all of these things. You have to master all these things in agencies. So it's a really good skill to build all of these things. But you have to get good at all of these things to hit like 10, 15K a month, right? Like you need to know the basics and absolutely everything. So you probably have low capital in the beginning and you have no experience. So you can't pay for that much software and hire other agencies to automate everything out yet. You just can't do that yet because you have low capital. So this is why I'm calling it, you need to brute force your way through business until you realize the things that are actually going to move the needle and actually move the lever. So as an example, I just started YouTube a few months ago. The mentality I'm going into it is I suck right now. And I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. But I know after 100 YouTube videos, I'm going to be much better than I am making my first 3, obviously, right? So you won't be good at cold calls until you make 100 cold calls. You will not be good at cold email after you get 1,000 responses back and then realize what's working. Like, it's just, you have to test this with reps. So the reason I say you have to brute force your way into this is because the first 100 hours of it, maybe 50 hours of cold call, you're going to suck. And then you have to realize what is the good action that makes that actual input good, right? What is the difference between a cold caller who does not have good tonality, who's just reading the script? You can obviously tell he's reading the script, cannot objection handle what the person's saying. But after you make 100 cold calls and you get that exact same objection 10 times, you will know what to say. So this applies to absolutely everything, right? Like you need to do this input 1,000 amount of times before you get good. And this is what I'm calling brute force. So after you use brute force to get good at the skill, recognize what's actually booking the appointment. What are you saying every time to get over this objection? Then you can, what I call leverage it out, right? So I always tell people, you need to do some basic sales first before you hire a salesperson. Because what are you going to tell to the salesperson when you hire them and they get an objection, they ask you how to handle the objection because you're your agency and you're like, I don't know. Like you need to get good at the skill first. And once you've learned the skill yourself, then you can start to think about hiring people. Then you can start thinking to optimize it. Hire a team, cold callers, hire a salesperson, hire a person on the back end for service delivery. You have to think about you getting good at all these skills first and then hiring it out. Because if they ask you a question, you have no idea what you're doing, right? So that's what I'd say. Brute force is the way to go first. Many times, guys, many cold calls, you need to brute force it starting out. You're not going to have the money, you're not going to have the team, any of these things. So I also would tell myself starting, I do 75% doing, I'd also do 25% consuming. So many agency owners get stuck in this analysis paralysis. Like it's unbelievable. And it takes time to get over this, I'm going to be honest. Because you have a fear of projection on the cold call. You have a fear that you're going to email someone and they're going to reject you. All of these fears, you're just scared of doing the work, but that's the one thing that's obviously going to move you forward. So I tell them 75% doing, 25% learning. And this is going to take so much willpower starting out until you get used to the doing. It's a skill of doing the doing, right? It's just a skill. You need to build the muscle of doing it. So this is just a rough estimate, but you can't just learn how to cold call from learning the theory of cold calling. You can't do that. You need to cold call yourself. You can read 10 sales books, but if you've never taken a sales call in your life, that salesperson who did the sales calls, 10 sales calls, will be better than the person who read the sales books. Because you need to be in the moment. You will not remember the theory from 10 books while you're taking your first sales call. You'll be trembling with nerves. You just can't do that. So what I recommend is 75% doing, while also supplementing 25% learning in the theory behind it, right? Because there's people that just do, right? There's people that are great at just doing the work. But then there's the people that read something in this book that helped them get over this objection, and that made them 10 grand. Like, of handling the objection so many times, they got over it, that made them money, right? So you can get great at something by just doing it. But at the same time, I would recommend doing it and supplementing in the knowledge of the theory behind the skill. Because by actually doing it yourself, getting used to it, being comfortable in the scenario, and also supplementing in the knowledge, your weapon, right? It's a great balance. So next with the doing, I always tell people set goals and inputs and not outputs. And this is pretty basic, but you cannot control and predict how much money you make without determining the inputs. It's impossible. It's out of your control, right? I don't know if you guys know Epictetus, Stoic philosopher. What's in your control and what's out of your control? What's out of your control is the income that you make that month. What's in your control is all the inputs that may contribute to getting the output. So here's an example right here. This is, let's say, a cold email sequence of statistics for just a random agency that wants to hit 20K months, right? You have the 20K month objective, and you calculate your sales conversion rate, your good fit rate, your show up rate, your appointment booking rate, all these things. And what you can literally do is reverse engineer the goal. So notice how this is 20 grand a month for the year. Let's say you have 6 grand closes for 6 grand clients. You need 40 clients for the year. Then you need 200 suitable calls. Then you need 250 people that attend the meetings. Let's count for no shows. You have 330 bookings. Then you have 12,000 emails needed. And then you take away whatever the holidays and the weekends and all these things. And then that constitutes about 49 emails a day with all these statistics. So this is a very, very developed agency, 6 grand clients, all these things. But it's your turn. It's your agency. If you still suck and you are sending too many emails and needed too many sales calls, you still calculate it. At least you have an idea of exactly what you need to do to get to that number. Because if you're just guessing, you're like, oh, I should do 100 sales calls, but I don't know how many I need to book my appointments and I close. Like, it's just a guessing game. Like, set a number each day, reverse engineer the goal, and that's how you're going to hit it. There's a quote that says, what gets measured gets managed, right? That's a great saying. You need to measure out exactly what you're doing for it to work. Like, if you're trying to lose weight, super quick, you don't just try to cut out something and then hopefully I'll lose the weight. Like, you're going to lift weights, do your cardio, and then you want to eat in a calorie deficit. You want to track how many calories you're eating. If you're really serious about it, you track the amount of calories you're eating and make sure it's managed and measured less than your maintenance calories. Really simple. But it's so much easier to measure these things to get the output than just to guess. Guessing games are not good in business. Like, everything in business you need to manage and track. Like, this really occurred to me in the last few months. Like, really. Because I was just doing, I don't know, as many things as I could throughout the day. And I realized I needed a structured plan. And my numbers dialed in. So immediately when I started tracking sales conversion rate, how many appointments am I getting from this ad each day? How many of those are closing? What's my closing rate versus my cold calls versus my ads? So this is super important. Because if your ads are doing better than cold calls, increase your ad spend. Maybe you don't need cold call. Maybe you can just use the ads. Like, they're performing much better. Now you know, right? So I'll also, if you guys like, I probably think you'll like this. I can drop this in the chat if you guys want it. Yeah, thumbs up. Cool. And copy that, guys. Hope you guys, if that's good with you guys, okay, perfect. But the good rule here is be very pessimistic. Like, be very, very pessimistic. Like, if your closing rate's 15%, drop it to 12. Like, it's better to think that you're going to, let's say, do worse than you actually do and then disappoint yourself in the end. So drop it a little bit. And if you want your income to be 20 grand a month, make sure you have 100% 20 grand a month and you drop the inputs a bit more, right? Or actually raise the inputs a bit more, because that's what you'll need to do. So next thing is, do you guys know about the Pareto Principle? Yeah, okay. So it's 80-20, right? So 80% of all the outcomes are derived from 20% of all causes. So this is any creative endeavor, like businesses, book sales, musicians, economic classes, everything. The 20% is 80% of all of the outcomes, right? So it's a universal principle. And after being in entrepreneurship long enough, you realize the things that are constituting 80% of your growth. Like, for me, that was managing my sales team. Like right now, last few months, managing the sales team, make sure the cold callers are hitting their numbers. That's it. Like, you realize that's the game, right? Make sure your clients are happy, managing the cold callers and check in ads, track your stuff. That's it. When I was first starting, it was making sure I did my damn cold calls. That sucked. Like, really, really sucked. But those were getting me the appointments, and the appointments is what I needed to close. I didn't need to change my landing page on my website 10 times before closing client. Like, I was doing that, but I didn't need to do that. The 20% of the inputs were the client acquisition, were the outreach that I didn't want to do. Another principle, I didn't put it in here, but the things you don't want to do are the things that you're neglecting. That's what you need to dial down on. Like, literally, after this call, go on your notepad, write down all of the things you're neglecting and don't want to do, and execute. Don't think about it, because the moment you think about it, and thinking about not wanting to do it, you're going to psych yourself out and not do it. Just do it. It'll probably take you like 20 minutes. Like, I would get so anxious about these 3 things on my notepad like a year ago, when they could be done in 20 minutes. So just small things like that. Do the things you don't want to do in 80-20 your inputs. So networking with entrepreneurs is really, really key. Like, I messaged my mentor right now when he was in the same school group as me, and I opened like friendly, gave value off the bat, and he was my mentor that connected me with Chris right now, who's upstairs. Connect me with him, right? We're living in Greece. Like, we're in the same house right now. Chris and I are in the same house. This was off of one connection, right? My mentor made me all of the money I'm making right now. All of the connections I have is from my mentor, right? One network connection, like, probably changed my life. It probably would have taken me another 6 months. So this is how I would network if I was you guys, with high-value people. Think about this. It's all perception, right? If you're messaging an influencer, hey, I'm a really big fan, and I don't know, I don't have any value to give you, but can we network? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? Like, give them something to start. Don't ask them for it. Like, the best outreaches I have in my DMs right now are the ones that just lead with value. Like, hey, Joe, I made you a personalized video for your YouTube channels. All edited. It's all done. Here it is. Done. I'm like, this guy is slick. He's sick, man. Like, gave me something without asking for anything. The worst is when, like, Joe, reply with interested, and I'll send over evergreen doc that I send 100 people a day. Like, do you know that difference? That difference is unbelievable. Just one video that you send every single person on earth versus someone editing a video for you. It's already done. Here it is. Do you want to be my editor? Or can I edit for you? Sure, bro. Thanks. That's such a big difference. So people do have information that can change your life. And I don't know if you guys heard this concept of ignorance debt. It's completely true. Like, I am losing 950 grand each month because of my ignorance right now. Like, that's a lot of money. People at 0K a month are losing $1 million every month from not being in $1 million in ignorance debt. So ignorance debt is the thing separating you from $1 million person you are right now. So people know more than you do. People doing $1 million a month are going to know more than you do, obviously. That's the one thing that's separating you. So you need to network. You need to get to know people. You need to understand that they're ahead of you and network with them, because one networking connection, like I just said, can change my life. You guys enjoying this? Thumbs up? Yeah. I think we're going to open up to questions now if you guys are down. There's 4 of you right now, and it's just one-on-one. Like, this is basically a coaching call, guys. Like, I'm going to give you all the sauce, whatever you want, man. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Joe. So I think actually, if it's cool, I'll lead with maybe just 2 questions, and then we also have a couple of questions in the school group, and then like anyone can just go after me.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I think maybe the first question that I wanted to lead with was, how do I, like, as an agency owner, like who's in the beginning stages, let's say 0 to 10K, like how do I get to the point where I can charge high prices? Or like, because when I was looking at the breakdown just now, it's like 20K per month, and then that's $24,000 a year. Oh, sorry, $240,000 a year, and it's like charging $6,000. And I mean, I might look at that and be like, how can I charge $6,000? Or like, I don't know how to structure my pricing in that way. Like when I first started my agency, I know I was charging like really low setup fees and stuff. So how do you determine what you're going to price your services at, and how do you get to a point where you can ethically charge the prices like that? Right? Because I'm sure everybody can just think about it. Like if I want to get to 10K per month and I'm charging $6,000, I just need to close 2 sales, and I've just broken $10,000 a month. So that sounds so different to me than if I have $1,000 setup fee. I need to close 10 sales this month. So how do I get to the point where I can charge those high prices ethically? And then maybe like the second question, like following up with that is, okay, wait, let's just start with that first question. I think it's a good question.
Yeah, there's a few things there. So one is you need to know and try to calculate how much your prospect is making off the service, right? Because if you're making them $5,000, but you're charging $5,000, like, bro, like, if they're making no money, why would they buy your service? They're making no money. Prospects buy your service and work with your agency to make money, obviously. So I would first calculate how much the prospect is going to make with you, hypothetically. If you haven't done service delivery before, talk to someone who has done it before. And I recommend even messaging them, leading with value, like I just said, or getting on a call with them and asking, how many appointments are you getting for your clients with your service delivery each month? And how are you doing your service delivery, right? Because it all comes down to how much value you are giving for the prospect, right? Because if in the real estate niche example, I'm charging $5,000 for 90 days. So my guarantee is 3 listings in 9 days. What's the value of a listing? Value listing, calculating it, they're making about 2 to 4, maybe 5% of the house, which is around $600,000. They're tripling, quadrupling their investment with the agency, right? So that's a worthwhile investment because they're guaranteed to make 3x, 4x. Another thing is you can charge that much when you have a good offer. It all comes down to the offer. So if you guys can't charge that much, you can do a few things, which I would recommend. I always recommend people, you can do a work for free model, where if you don't get the results in X amount of time span, you can work for free, like for a few days or a few weeks if you're a beginner, and it's only going to cost you maybe a few $100s if they don't get the result. So that's like the worst case scenario. But you still probably made from the prospect a few grand, right? If you have a set fee that's kind of low, but you work a performance offer, you might only have to work for free for a few days. So that's not too bad. And having something tangible as a guarantee for them is unbelievably valuable because I think Charlie Morgan calls this a trampoline. So you have the sales process. So the prospect's right here, and this is their ideal scenario, right? So your sales process in your agency is getting them from the previous scenario to this scenario over here. So let's say they're going through your service 20 days, 30 days, 45 days, and then they don't get the result. Worst case scenario, trampoline. They hit the trampoline, they're back up. Because that's a guarantee, right? They're safe no matter what. So in the offer, the guarantee acts as a trampoline and bounces them back up, and the risk is much more reduced, right? So, and also, yes, having a good sales process does help you charge more because it makes your perception in your service much more high value. So, dialing in your sales process and making sure you have authority is very good.
When you say return, at what multiplier would you say it's a good return?
It really ranges, but say like probably 4x, 5x.
Like even in niches where like what you're doing is basically getting them money straight to the bank with each appointment.
Well, it also that depends on the model you're using, right? Like I'm using a setup fee as mine, and that was basically it. Like that's the only model. Are you using a, let's say, pay an appointment model?
Yeah, with the setup fee of the sort.
Got it. And
it's even pay per appointment because basically every appointment that I book is a close. It's like at least $200 to $1,000 for my client.
$100 to $1,000.
From 200 to 1,000, depending on what service.
If you don't mind, so what's your offer look like? Are you pay on result?
Yeah, I'm doing pay. Look, I get $1,000 setup fee, and I work with, for every car booked, I get $30.
So yeah, that's more than good, man. Because that's $200 to $1,000, and you're getting 30. What if they get 1,000, right?
Yeah, that's like a 6 to 30x return.
I'm
so
having
that's
a
really
client.
good.
Yeah.
I'm having a client that I'm getting him like around 9 to 12 return on investment.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
And he's not happy.
He's not happy.
No, he's always like, oh, we need to get to this amount, and I'm like, you're spending $20 a day on that. You're not giving me anything to play with.
Oh, if I was investing in someone to 10x my money, are you kidding me?
And I'm like, look, this is like I've been running your ads for a month, and I've made you this amount of money while you all like he spent $300 and made almost 4K from it. You know?
Yeah, man. I don't understand the rationale there.
Yeah.
Because that's an unbelievably good return on investment, right? Like my realtors, if they hit the guarantee, probably 4x investment, right? Okay. You're like 10xing, brother.
No,
like,
because I'm being paranoid, you know, because like the way he's talking and like I'm searching everywhere. Like, is this bad? How can I improve this?
No, man. I wouldn't. I mean, some clients are just personalities, man. Like these personalities. That return on investment's more than good. Like that's something you should not be worrying about at all. Like that's higher than the industry standard for an agency, like much higher. So
because when I've talked to him about like if we spend even 50% more on ads, you get far more money for
I mean, if you spend 50% on ads,
but like he's telling me, oh, I have these expenses and product expenses, you know, like he's tying his other expenses to my work. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Then other expenses to your work. I mean, I don't think that's rational. I mean, I wouldn't do that. If I was a realtor and I had to pay like money for a sign, then decorate the house, that's not your fault. Like that's not my fault. Like, not at all, man. No. I mean, I just keep communication with him and just show him all the things you're doing and keep providing him the statistics and showing him the return investment he's getting. Because the return investment should speak for itself. But I mean, if he's not,
no, I don't want to talk to him. Like he calls me 3 times a day. You know what's happening? What's up? And I'm like, bro, you know. And even after I book the appointment, sometimes he calls me, tell them I'm gonna be late a bit, as if I'm his fucking VA. You know.
Man, I mean, I just I can't say much there. It seems like a personality problem on his part. I mean, you're over delivering in your service and you're doing a great job. What it seems like, what I've heard, I'd say keep doing you, man. That's gonna be fun.
So an X5 is more than good. X5
Yes.
and more is okay.
Yeah.
I'd say it's completely fine. Yeah, I'd say it's
I
completely
would say
fine.
like if you're between a 5 to 15x, that's the Goldilocks zone. Yeah, like if you want to judge a number for pricing, maybe it's like just say 10x because it's nice in the middle. But yeah, between 5 to 15x is perfect. Okay, yeah, I just had one more question, maybe like Joe, and then we just open it up completely to the floor.
That's
But
fine.
so, Joe, you and I like we started agencies like maybe around the same time, but like we a little bit maybe a few months apart. But you actually scaled a lot faster than I did. I took a lot. You scaled a lot faster and to greater heights than I did, and we bought the same course, right? So like, I'm like thinking like, okay, obviously there are other factors, right? Like we're in different niches and all this kind of stuff. But one of the key factors that I think that you always point out is that you like got a mentor, right? So you and I bought the same course, but then you got a course, you bought the course and you had a mentor, and I think that's when you started to like take off, and I didn't, and so I didn't scale as fast. But like maybe can you speak to like how you talked a bit about networking earlier, like how did you get that mentorship? Like how did you find that? How do you know like who would actually be a good mentor versus like I don't know like scams and shit out there?
Yeah.
And yeah, like maybe could you speak to like how you went about that yourself?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So a few things. I would first make sure the mentor has the credibility first. You don't want to get scammed by some guy who's on the internet claiming big claims and can't back it up. I mean, make sure when you ask him questions, he knows his shit. Like, make sure he's legit. So it's good if they have a YouTube channel, long form videos explaining them and their agency, showing proof that they have the agency, blah, 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 all these things, and just giving away all the value. It's a good sign, right? So first of all, it's also, so I'll just tell you how I did it with my mentor first. So I went to my mentor. I'm like, how much can I pay you for your hour of your time? I'm like, give me your hour. How much? And guys, if these guys are making 40, 50 grand a month, don't expect it to be cheap. Like, do not expect it to be cheap. Like, their time is worthwhile. Like, their working hour is worth probably like $500 at least, right? Like, it's like $500 an hour is pretty rational. Like, I was just texting somebody who's at like something like 100 grand a month. And I asked him, it's like, he said like 450 euro. So that's like 600, 700 American. So don't expect them to be cheap, first of all. But look into top communities of people performing, showing their results. Communities are great, in my opinion, right? So look for the people consistently posting, sharing their wins, and then ask those people what they're doing and get on the call. So when I first got my mentor, I had a part-time job. I'm not gonna lie, I was funneling all of my money that I made from my part-time job into my mentor. All of my money. I didn't have much money at all. It was just going straight to him. But I knew if I applied the things that this person told me, I'm going to make as much as him because he's literally giving me all of the secrets. Because I'm giving this guy $300 per hour just to tell me what he knows. Like, it's worth it. He doesn't care because I'm paying him. Like, he's making a shit ton of money off me. But he's just going to give everything away. Especially if you develop a relationship with him, he'll give you everything. So, yeah, like Chris said, the difference between a course and a mentor is everybody has different scenarios. And everybody has different beliefs, limiting beliefs. Everybody has different niches that they're in. Everybody has different environments, if they like it or don't like it, whatever. But the mentor can give you one-on-one advice instead of generalized advice that cannot tell you specifically what to do. Because you have to realize with these people that are making courses, they're like, if I was talking to the average person and tried to get them to X amount, I would give them this information to start. And then they put it on the course outline. They give it out. They give it as much value as possible, obviously, but you can't make it universal, right? Like, if you're in a niche that the course doesn't apply to and your offer doesn't apply to, and they don't talk about that niche, but you're in this niche, you have no idea what you're doing. Like, you're still not getting the personalized advice. So definitely someone who knows what they're talking about and can give you a blueprint from zero to wherever you want to go is definitely worth the investment. Yeah, definitely worth it. Hope I answered your question as well as I could, brother. Nice. I think we have a few questions in the chat. Chris.
Yeah, so I think, okay, yeah, so there's a question by Larry, and then I'll put some of the questions from school in the chat as well.
Beautiful. So I'll just start chipping away at Larry's question. How can I build trust with my clients if I offer copywriting and marketing services? And how can I testimonials? I'm assuming I use testimonials to make it easier for yourself to get clients. What
I ask is that I'm pretty new to this space. I don't know how I'm going to get clients if I'm like very new and I don't have too much trust. So I wonder how I can build trust with clients, even though I don't have too much skills and experience.
Got it, man. So first thing I'd recommend is I just did a video on my YouTube channel. It's about 20 minutes. And I just outlined how I would get my first few clients without any testimonials. But I'll give you kind of a quick recap of that YouTube video. And then I'd recommend you actually watch it because I kind of gave away a lot of stuff there. It's pretty good. First off, I'd recommend when you're on the sales call with them, usually people will pull up a slide deck and go, this is our service, here's the testimonials, who's this for, and then your pitch, right? All I would do is break down your service, then the exact mechanism of you delivering the service. So something tangible they can look at, like a Miro of week 1, we're going to do this. Week 2, we're going to do this. Week 4, and just a blueprint that they can actually believe that you're actually going to do what you're saying you're going to do, right? Because you're hopping on a sales call with the guy, you're getting pitched, but has no evidence of what they're doing, and here's the price, right? Like it's much better to actually show the exact result and the timeline that they'll get the result and the process to get the result if you don't have testimonials. So another thing I'd recommend is, I'll give an example. I had someone text me where they're running a short form offer, short form content, and he was creating short form videos himself, and he had 3 accounts that were at 15K followers with short form content. I'm like, brother, show that you know what you're doing and you have the results for yourself, and don't believe you know what you're doing because you have the results yourself, right? So in your case, it depends what you're doing for marketing or copywriting, but if you show that you're doing the principles you're outlining for the prospect yourself, if you can apply it to yourself in any way, it'll show that it's actually working.
Okay.
Right? So can I ask like exactly what service you're providing so I can get more clear on the answer?
Well, I'm offering like copyright services, learning how to copyright, because I feel like in school they don't really teach me how to do writing money, so I'm learning copywriting on my own, and then I know some video editing, and I'm pretty good at the gym. And I'm also good at growing social media accounts. Those are my skills I have.
Can I quickly just recommend to you something, brother?
Yeah.
I would really recommend just to go all in on one service, because think about it this way. If you have someone who approaches you and they go, I'll get you this result for this niche with this service, versus I help all niches with 10 services, here's what I can do, right? You'd rather have someone who actually specializes in that one niche with one service where you can just kill the delivery on it. So what I would recommend is just to really dial in on one skill, get really, really good at skill, and try to pick an avatar that you want to target. So try to go all in one skill. Video editing, bro, I have people pitching me video editing to my DMs all the time. This guy just pitched me something like, it's like $50 per minute of video editing. I didn't think it's that expensive, but you can make a lot of money from that, man. Like if you're messaging people for video editing and you get good at video editing, like that's a lot of money. You're gonna make a lot of money, man. Like sure, it's still for your time. Like it's still a lot of money. It's still time based in your service delivery. But at least it's something. If you have no experience in online business, that's better than nothing at all. And then eventually you can build another skill and then go on a higher leverage skill and like get good at that, right? So I'd recommend to you just drill down one skill and pick someone you want to work for, like one niche. That's what I'd recommend.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to the point where you talked about show like the whole process and everything.
Yeah, man.
From my little experience in sales, it's better to make like the prospect focus like on their current situation and build like that outcome as if it's their heaven on earth. You know, at what line do you draw where it's too much talking about the process, and
That's a very good question. It's a very, very good process. Very good question. The only reason I say do that, and you're completely correct about getting to the dream outcome and making them acknowledge their current situation. The only reason I say that is because of lack of trust. So when there's not a trust factor there and you have no authority, do 1 or 2 slides showing the process. That's all I would recommend. Because you don't want it to be a 10-slideshow on them having no emotions, them not getting emotional at all. Just showing your process. Here it is. You want to buy my product, right? It's just too long. Like, you want to make sure they know their current situation, are emotional about their current situation, want to get somewhere else where they're going, feel the sensations of them being in this situation where they're actually at the place they want, and your actual service is the bridge to that. But just to give them a bit of trust, just a little bit, that they trust you with the service, I'd say 1 or 2 slides, right? I actually learned this from Charlie Morgan, the massive SMA YouTuber. He gives this advice. I've told my mentorship clients to do this, and they've avoided successfully most people asking about testimonials just because they have some process on their slides. So that's the only reason I would recommend it, and I completely agree. Still get them emotional about their current situation, but at the same time, you need some authority about showing the process. But yeah, great question, man.
Yeah, I think let's just open to the floor for a bit. Like, there are like 3 questions that I can get to in the school, but I mean, since everyone's here, let's just open to the floor.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Can I shoot quickly? How's it going, everyone? Shots for having this. Appreciate it. Chris, Joe, you guys, like you guys are saying, it's like $500 an hour. You guys are just chilling here, chatting.
Yes, sir.
So I'm Yasin. Appreciate it, man. So I'm Yasin, and I just graduated uni, did my honors in marketing, all that. But I've actually been freelancing as well, part time. So this is my. Can I show my screen quickly so you guys can see what's happening? So I've been on Upwork, and I have some sort of thing. So some not sort of thing, but like some credibility, I guess, to some degree. I've made some money, but not a hell of a lot. And I want to kind of transition into agency sort of thing. I've always wanted to be an agency, but didn't have much time and all of that. So I've been on Upwork, been freelancing, email marketing, done it for quite a few ecom guys, one SaaS guy, one YouTuber, and it's done pretty well. But at the end of last year, I graduated in December last year, very, very busy with my thesis, so I dropped everyone. And now I'm trying to get back in the groove, and I'm a bit here and there, and very, very cloudy almost. So what do you guys recommend the next steps are?
So email marketing, that would be doing their copy for their emails. Would that, if I have that correct? Or
yeah, so see, that's the thing. It's a bit mix and match. I started out as a copywriter, but I've done a lot of e-com work as well. So I design the emails, couple of the flows in Klaviyo, the whole shebang. I make like if I get one client, I made $50K in like 3 days with one sequence. So
nice.
It worked really well. And I need to put these as case studies and put them on a website. Probably start a YouTube channel. I wanted to hear what you guys had to say as well.
Yeah, I have something that I would recommend doing, and then I'll let Chris go because I think we both could have some solid opinions on this.
Awesome, thanks.
I have a friend that does this exact thing. So he runs a cold email agency, and he was in the SMA niche. So he was doing cold email, exactly what you're doing, cold email systems, and then just running it for SMA owners and booking them sales calls, right? So what I'd actually recommend is organic content would be nuts for this. I would start an SMA YouTube channel and then have your service for agency owners and then attract agency owners through organic content. And that's then just do your cold email for your service delivery. Like if you know what you're doing for cold email and you can nail them sales calls, I mean, just do a cold email agency. That would be sick. I would do that. I'd say you can do the YouTube, or you can do a few different outreach methods. You can do cold email for yourself to talk to agency owners. You can cold DMs for yourself as well. There's a few options with this. It also depends which niche you want to target. But you could do that SMA niche because I know my friend was hitting some solid months, like 30, 40K months with cold email as a service delivery. So it was definitely super solid. So I'd say you could do that pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah, so cold email was one of the services, but like I've done copy for everything. So I've even done, like, let's say you have a YouTube channel, you have courses, all of that. I'll set up the newsletter for you, and then subscribers will come, check your content out, content that comes to you on YouTube, and then I'll sell them a course. So I do the whole. It's not just cold email. I've done e-com stores, flows, welcome sequences, abandoned cart, everything like that. So it's quite diverse. But I have one testimonial for one niche from one person, and someone else from somewhere else, and somewhere else. So it's a bit here and there.
Okay, so I'd give the same.
Probably a good way to go.
Yeah, I'd say that I'd give the same advice to you as I gave, I think, Larry, his name. I would dial in one skill. This is just my opinion. I would dial in one of those skills. So if you're great at writing a newsletter that you can write great copywriting for and convert attention from YouTube channels, then maybe just do your newsletter, write great copy, get them sales for their YouTube channel, and reach out to YouTubers. Like, I think that'd be sick. But you just have to pick, and I say this again, but you have to pick one, man, because the worst thing is kind of like having 3 delivery options, and then just adds so much complexity to the business. So,
For sure.
I'd say, yeah, man, like, it's up to you how you want to do the actual outreach. If you want to do inbound through YouTube, or you want to do some outreach strategies like maybe cold DMs to YouTubers, or find their Instagram accounts, or do cold email to SMMA. It's up to you how you want to do that outreach strategy initially, but I'd say just dial in one skill. Like, if you're great at writing newsletters, do the newsletter.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so the only thing that I'm going to add to this is because, Yassine, it sounds like you have quite a diverse range of applications for this skill set that you have. So think about all of the ways that you can apply these skills, and pick, when you're picking your niche, pick the one way that you can apply this skill that is as far down the value funnel as possible. Okay, so what I mean by value funnel is there's the top of the value funnel where you're like, hey bro, I'll get you more views. Okay, and then there's after views, there's like, I don't know, likes, and then maybe there's like email opt-ins on your subscriber list, and then there's people who book a sales call from the emails, and then there's people who close from the email. So like you're going down and down the value funnel of how close you are to actually making this prospect money. So just, I don't know how diverse your skill set is and how that ranges, but look at the ones that are furthest down the value funnel, and I would say like pick those and match those to the niche that you select. Yep.
100%. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Awesome.
Let's get another question in the chat, I believe, Chris. Let's see. Oh, I think Larry sent me a message privately. He said, what's better, offer services of my skill in Upwork, Fiverr, or cold reaching? So I assume it said cold outreach. I'd say cold outreach is super effective. It also just depends. I can't give you an exact answer since you haven't kind of drilled in exactly what skill you want to offer yet. And so, like, as an example, different skills and different delivery systems have different sources that you should contact people on. Like gyms, it might be better to cold email than maybe cold call. With realtors, you might want to cold call, etc. Right? So I'd say cold outreach is super, super cool, but you could always just do an Upwork account if you want to get your skills up, and just have an Upwork account up if you want. But cold outreach is always super simple and super good.
Bro, what you said right now about cold emailing gyms instead of cold calling made Milo's life look like it's useless.
Yeah, because I'm cold calling gyms. That's why he's laughing.
Well, I'm not getting
no.
cold calls. I'm not giving cold calls like out of gyms entirely. Not at all. Like you can definitely cold call gyms.
I know.
But Milosh, it would do you good to set up cold email for gyms. Just speaking from experience, like it would do you good. The quality of prospects, at least for me, anecdotal experience, the quality of prospects for me of gyms that came from cold email, particularly cold looms that I was doing, was really, really good compared to cold calling. Just something to consider. Because you can set a system up like that and automate it like this. Like within a few days, you can have cold email, cold looms like automated like this. I mean, you have to warm up the accounts, but you get what I'm saying. There's much more leverage in that. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, because it can be automated, right? So you...
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
I have a question.
Hey, Joseph, do you do like TikTok outreach or Instagram outreach?
No, I don't personally, but also I'm working with realtors. So I just have a cold calling team, and I run advertising. So this is all niche dependent, like I said. So I like realtors. It's great to cold call. Like it's super good to cold call because it's just going to the direct person phone. So I have a team of cold callers working for me out there, and then other than that, I used to use cold callers to get the appointments and also paid ads for the appointments. So
when I'm cold calling, like, how can I improve my cold calling skills? Like, how can I not sound like a creep and sound like someone who's influential? Because many people cold call and they think it's a scammer. So how can I decrease that likely from happening?
There's a few factors. One is the script you're using. If you make it seem more casual instead of salesy, that's pretty solid. So you come across much more friendly than just like, I have a sales pitch for you here. But like, if you ask permission to state your pitch, like kind of something like, I think it's, hey, this is blank from company name. Could I just have, you're welcome to hang up now or past 30 seconds of your time. Like, that's a great opener because it's like, you give permission, right? That's pretty solid. So there's also another point, which is tonality. Like, if you just sound dead like this all the time, it's just like people are gonna sense it. You're gonna look stupid, right? So always give like great tonality like this. Hey, I'm Larry. Like, I'm a great person, right? You know what I mean? Like that's always like pretty good because after a few hundred cold calls, man, it's really hard to have good tonality. But you need to because like if when more friendly you are, the more they're gonna listen. So
Yeah, and I'll just add like just one little thing to this, which is that, like at least for me, the best metrics, like because I'm just gonna talk about data, like any changes in my tonality, like the best metrics I've found have been when my tonality is just relaxed, like very relaxed and almost like I'm calling a friend, like an old friend. I'm like, hey, what's up, John? And they're like, I'm doing good. How are you? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm perfect. Yeah. Hey. Like, I'm just talking to them like they're my old friend. And like then it's disarming in a sense because then you're not coming off as like salesy. Like, hi, is this the owner of this gym? Like, nah, bro. Like, they're gonna hang up on your ass, right? But if you're like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, you're doing good. Perfect. Hey, look, I'm just calling about this thing. Yeah. It's so different, right? So I mean, that's on tonality specifically. It's that's something that I've found is useful. But yeah, just like your mental state during cold calling is the thing that you have to preserve. Yeah. So there's different people do that in different ways. Some people do like dopamine stacking while they're cold calling. Yeah, that one's completely up to you. It's quite person to person. Yeah.
So can I ask you a question?
okay.
Um,
Yeah. Do you guys
I want to ask. I have two questions, but I'm gonna start with, what's your purpose right now?
Oh, my man. That's a really good question. It's a really good question. It's just right now, just to learn, man, to be honest. Like I'm only 19, and I've done pretty well. Like I built a 40K a month SMMA, and like that's cool and all, but I don't know anything. Like I'm 19, bro. Like I need to learn a lot of things. Like I still need to learn a lot, man. And something I've learned last few months, like income does not matter. It's your fulfillment in doing the thing that you're doing, right? Like it matters a lot. Just being fulfilled in doing what you want to do is a big thing. And my actual like passion is learning, and it's just like I love reading books, and I love learning, improving myself wrong all the time, and looking stupid, and then becoming a better person, and then you know what I mean, like that's what I'm doing. And
Yeah, that's nice, but passion is not purpose.
yeah, I'd say like my purpose is just to learn, man. I mean, like just become.
Do you get fulfillment from your agency?
I believe it's a step in the right direction. I believe it's a great way to keep myself afloat. I believe it's a step to a multi-step process, man. I believe it's gonna be something bigger than my agency, and it's just the agency is a step in fulfilling the purpose. And I'm gonna be honest, like to learn is like the closest I can get to a purpose right now, and it's gonna be like Chris had mentioned before, the multiple layers that I'm gonna have to shed a purpose before I get to my actual purpose, right?
Do you agree that purpose is greater than money? Or you think money is greater than purpose? Someone told me that purpose is greater.
I think purpose is greater. And it's so funny, Chris and I we've been talking, like, Chris is upstairs, guys, like, we've been living in Greece for the month. And, like, this is what we talk about every day. Like, I came to the realization the other day, it's so funny, that.
Yeah, I went to Greece when I was like 8, and it's beautiful.
Oh, what did you say? You said it's beautiful?
I went to Greece like when I was a little kid in it, and I love Greece, but I haven't gone back since.
No, yeah, we love it, man. It's a great place. It's an amazing place. But yeah, to your question, man, I'd say fulfillment any day. I'd rather be at 5 to 10K a month and just living and doing what I love than making 100K and just despising my life any day.